Mm-mm-mm. Hey, welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me. Okay, so I had to do this by request. I have one of my male subscribers that wanted my response to a video by O'Shea Duke Jackson. And he took some clips from a woman named Chez. I'm not familiar with who that is, but I'm going to play it. I was trying to figure out how to play it in here, but I wasn't able to. So I'm going to play it and dissect it. I'll tell you what I do agree with and then what I don't agree with as well. Okay. So let me play a little bit for you.
Let's face it, guys. Black women have been talking about the lack of protection that they get from us the last 10 years. So much so that there are many people on TikTok, many people on YouTube that are even telling black men that these black women are wasting their time with men like us and they should go elsewhere because they are not going to get what they want from black men. They won't get the protection, the kids won't be provided for, they won't have economic sustainability, so they might as well go out there and get another man, preferably a white guy by the name of Brad. But now let's talk about Chez. She's made some pretty good videos regarding this topic on TikTok, and there are two that I really want to get into today.
Okay, so let me break this down and just explain one thing. A lot of times, and I'm not saying for all men, but a lot of times the other races will see a lot of the issues that are going on in the black community. So that's why they're saying that black women, a lot of them would be better off with someone outside of their community. Okay. And here's the thing that I want to say about that. Most black women are not dating other races. Okay. There's still more women that are black women that are sticking with black men, or they're just being alone. Okay, or they're dating other women. But overall, there's more women that are dating black men, or black women are dating more black men than vice versa. Okay, so I just wanted to say something about that real quick. Okay, so now he's gonna play the clip from this young lady named Chez.
And the first concept is that black women want protection from black men, but at the same time, they want to compete against that entity for the same protection. So I want to go ahead and deal with the first clip, and then I'll come back and deal with another one.
If black women actually want protection from black men, then we have to be willing to listen to them. You know, online, this whole gender war thing is pretty popular, but if we're serious about protection, then we cannot be in competition with or fighting with the men that we say we need protection from. So I think we have to ask ourselves whether or not we have created a culture where men's perspective and their point of view is even valid or is even taken into consideration. So I think it's really important, especially as women who feel that we are not protected, we got to ask ourselves, well, why are we even listening when men are saying, hey, danger, hey, don't do that, hey, that's unsafe? Are we even listening to them, or are we arguing? I think these are all the questions that we need to ask ourselves and ultimately understand that a part of gaining protection or gaining protection from men is also understanding that you're in a relationship that is full of respect, mutual respect.
Mutual
you
respect.
respect him and he respects you.
So now I want to play.
So let me break that. I hope you guys are hearing this. Let me break that down. So what she was saying is black women can't be in competition with the very men that we want them to protect us. Okay. And I agree with that. Okay. But my whole thing is, how are we in competition with these men? How can a black woman compete with a black man? So I'm really not understanding that part, because the only women that we can compete with is other black women. Okay. The only other men that men can compete with is still black men. Okay. So if you're talking about outside of the community, okay, I understand that, but I don't understand how a black woman could compete with a black man. They're two different genders. We have two different ways of viewing things. We're supposed to be complementary to each other, okay? So I'm not getting that part right there. And I'm just going to keep listening, okay? But I never understood that. And to me, there's not a gender war unless you make it a gender war. Everybody is not lumped up into these type of issues that I think people feel like they're in a gender. We're going to have differences of opinion because we're two different genders. We see things differently. But yeah, we definitely need to start listening to each other. And she's right to an extent. A lot of times women don't value a man's input, but they don't understand the danger of not doing so. So yeah, let's continue to listen to this. So that was her first clip. I agreed to an extent, but then I'm like, how can a woman compete with a man? I don't get it.
Respect him and he respects you.
So now I want to play this particular clip about Black women voting the protection away.
That's
and then
crazy.
Let's get a bigger framework from that, and then we'll kind of break it down.
So we've all heard by now the common complaint that Black women as a collective are not being protected by their men. Now, what is rarely talked about, however, is the fact that we as Black women actually voted their protection away. Now, what do I mean by this? Black women are the most feminist. By and large, we overwhelmingly vote for feminist policies. And under a feminist framework, men and women are equal. They should have, equal opportunities, equal access to jobs, to pay, to positions of power, things of that nature. Men and women are essentially to be put on an equal framework. Now, under that, why would you need protection from somebody that you are equal to? Why would you need protection to somebody who is essentially equivalent to you? That will be considered misogynist. That will be considered disrespectful to women's ability to maintain and protect herself. And so we have to be honest about the fact that this is the kind of culture or framework that we did create. And now, fast forward decades later, where things are a lot more feminist than ever, and women do have a lot of opportunities, and they are put in positions to compete with men. Now it creates this complicated framework in relationships. But here is the bigger picture. The reason that we are not protected as Black women is because we voted that we didn't need protection. By coming into agreement with some of those different laws, and by again putting us in positions to be more and more equal or equivalent standing with men, we in essence said we're the same. We are able, we are just as capable of doing all these things. And so again, I ask you the question, if you are able or capable, why then ask for protection from the very men that you are equal to? And this is why, under this framework, this is why under the current structure, we cannot expect for a community or collective of Black women that we have essentially said that we are just as equal to. We can't expect them to now operate under a traditional framework. We are now under a modern setup. Apart from maybe a husband or a family or maybe a close-knit community, that community framework that we're looking for, it doesn't really work or operate under this, capitalistic, individualistic, feminist structure that we currently have today. And I think this is just something that we're going to have to reckon with.
All right. So now that we've seen both videos.
So let me speak on this, okay? First of all, who voted for these feminist policies? Okay. And let's talk about why these policies even so-called exist, okay? Everybody was not being protected and respected in their household, okay? So let's just get that out there, okay? I don't see women leaving their children to go out into the workforce if the father was taking care of their business, okay? I just don't see that. All right. And I'm not saying that this didn't happen, but I'm saying 9 times out of 10, either there was abuse in the home, there was a lot of disrespect. If you ever talk to your grandparents, okay, if you ever talk to your grandmother, if you ever talk to the older women in your family, there was a lot of that they took simply because they didn't have a choice, okay? Simply because they weren't even allowed to work. There was a time that women weren't allowed to do anything. And these same guys, in my opinion, that complain about, women saying that they want to compete with them, Women are not in competition with men, okay, not directly. When they said that the feminist policies were voted on by us women, I didn't vote on any of those policies. And I don't see how many women would rather go to work or whatever than stay at home and raise their children. I mean, nowadays in modern society, with everything going on, yeah, definitely, most women know that they are expected to go outside the home. Even if a man and a woman is married, a lot of times men do not want women to sit at home with the children while they're the only ones working. No, most men in modern society, they expect for the woman to work too, or they would like for their woman to work as well. So it gets confusing. The confusing part is it's like everybody wants traditional values, but modern day this or modern day that. It really doesn't work like that. It's like, okay, which one are you going to stay in? So if you have women working and so forth and so on, they should be able to make decent pay. They should be able to do these things. If you as a man, right? If you as a man want your woman to stay at home, so forth and so on, and be submissive and do all this, you can't ask her to go out there and work alongside you and still come home, take care of the kids, and be superwoman. If you want her to stay at home, then you're going to have to be able to provide for you and her and children if you have them. But what will happen is most times guys don't want that. Most of the time, guys want the woman to work, then come home and do all these things. It's impossible. Something is going to be lacking. Let's just keep it 100, okay? And so when she says, okay, we want to be equal to these men and still have the protection from these men, that makes absolutely no sense. We're not in competition with men, okay? If a woman is working outside the house, you best believe 9 times out of 10 it's because she has to. Think about that, okay? And then the protection, one, does me being a working woman does not mean that I am still able to go out here and deal with men on a basis that a man would, okay? If a woman gets into a tussle with the man, just because she's a working woman, just because she's capable of doing certain things that a man does, we know that she's not capable of fighting a man and winning. That's very, unless she's Layla Ali or somebody that is trained for that type of thing. So how can you say that? How can you say that just because this is a working woman or just because this woman has a business or so forth and so on, she doesn't deserve protection from a man? And here's the problem that I have. When women co-sign stuff like this, it makes it harder for the other women as a whole. It makes it harder for Black women as a whole in the community, okay? And so it's also, just because you're a man doesn't mean it's not going to affect you, because if every man feels this way, the problem is if, let's say, one day it will be your mother, one day it will be a family member of yours. One day it may be your daughter. One day it may be your best friend or whatever, or something like that. That's a female. And that's what happens. We can't say women don't need protection just because women are in the workforce. That makes no sense, especially if them being in the workforce is contributing to society and contributing to the household, okay? So I don't agree with that at all. But what I will say is this. A lot of women don't listen to men when they talk about their safety, okay? A man might say, hey, don't go out after this time of the night. Or a man may say, for instance, I have a male friend and his sister works late at night, okay? She comes home and she sits in a driveway. She's living with him right now till she gets herself together. He has told me he has stayed up until really late in the morning, even though he has to get up and go to work. But she continues to do this. And he's like, if you continue to do this, you're going to have to leave. So I understand that. Yes, sometimes women are stubborn and very headstrong, and it works against them. In that situation, situations like that, I understand that. But you can't want women to work and bring money into the home and then say, well, hey, you're trying to be a man now, just like me. So I guess you can fend for yourself if you get into a tussle. One has nothing to do with the other. Let's be honest, okay? I don't understand why females do this, because they make it harder for the rest of us, okay? I'm not about to sit up here and fight no man or anything like that.
All right, so now that we've seen both videos, let's deal with it and synthesize everything as a concept. The first concept, Chez talks about the fact that Black women want protection from Black men, yet you want to be a competing force. You want to be an equal, yet you want protection. Instead of trying to understand what you need to do to gain that protection as a woman, or understand what issues the men may have, it's not important to you. Therefore, you're not effectively able to communicate what you want. Now, let me just say this. This is something that happens a lot, and it's a big problem, a big communication gap that happens between men and women all over the world.
So I guess the question is, what do men want women to do in order to be able to get protection from them? Because he says a lot of women lack knowing what it takes to get the protection from men. What does that take? What does that look like? And I'm not being smart when I say that, but maybe women don't know. Outside of being respectful, outside of, I guess being feminine, so forth and so on, what does it take? I wish you had said specifically what that looks like, what that entails.
That happens between men and women all over the world, but especially in the Black community.
There's definitely
on
a
average,
big communication gap.
Many Black men feel like whatever their input is, it's worthless. Nobody cares. But the only people that should have an input are women. So in other words, your wants, your needs, your desires, the issues that you may need to compromise in order to basically get the job done for Black women, it doesn't matter. Which in turn would make a Black man not want to offer the protection that you're asking for. And then at the same time, you're trying to be competing with the same man that you want protection from, which is never going to work, because a man needs to feel like you're on the same page as him and he's leading you.
So give me one moment. So I know what he's about to say, and what he's saying coming up, I agree with 100%. But yeah, the rest of that, I'm just like, okay, let me go back a little bit and replay
that you're asking for. And then at the same time, you're trying to be competing with the same man that you want protection from, which is never going to work, because a man needs to feel like you're on the same page as him and he's leading you, and he's protecting you with his work, he's protecting you physically, emotionally, and things like that. But he's not going to be in that frame of mind if you are also hitting him with the same sort of masculine energy that he needs to protect you. Now, in the second clip, she broke down very, very masterfully as what is going on, right? What did she say, guys? She said Black women voted their equality away. Now, at one point, you said that you don't need these guys and that you are doing as well or better than them. So what are you seeing as a result? You're seeing that more women wanted to become more equal with these men, which is what we're seeing.
First of all, every woman doesn't feel that way. I don't know where this came from, because no one asked me. Where was the sign-up sheet for all of this stuff? Because you can't keep generalizing all Black men, all Black women. Okay, that's not fair. And so, yeah, I'm going to keep letting this play. Now, some things, like I said before, I do agree with, okay? But then others, it's kind of like almost just like, okay, well, since you women want to work and you women want to compete with us, okay, we're not going to protect you. It's almost like a revenge thing, okay? There's a difference between really having valid issues and then just feeling like your ego may be hurt in some way. And so the problem is I hear a lot more of that than just saying, listen, I feel like I'm not respected. I feel like I'm not needed as a man. If a man comes like that and just be honest about how they're feeling, okay, then maybe we could get some of these things. Talk, what is the problem? Well, what can I do to help you feel better? I don't know if a woman can. I don't know if a woman can help a man feel better. I don't know. Oh, you got to be kidding me. I hope this thing ain't cut off while I'm still talking. Hey, y'all, I hope I didn't lose you. But yeah, let me play some more of this, okay?
How many comments do we see? Hey, Black women, we're the most educated. We're doing better than you guys. And so Black men are not necessarily trying to fight that idea, although I do believe that because of the work that Black men may do, they may earn more money. But what are you seeing? You're seeing a lack of apathy of the protection of women. We even see it now when, you watch certain world star hip hop videos, or if you see, some of the violent statistics, you're not seeing men jump into danger as much anymore to help women out, because society has taught men that, hey, they're equal. But the thing about it is that the voting policies that Black women have taken in the last 40 years, they never expected that it would change the attitude of men, and it has. So now you're seeing all these things that you're getting that you've gotten because of what's been going on with the progressive feminism and ideology. But the thing is that you still believe that some man's going to be out there wanting to protect all of that when you've been saying that you don't need him and that you're just as equal as we are. So men are saying,
who said that? And this is my point. My point is, you can't say, okay, because a woman is working, she should be able to protect herself the same way a man can. She's still a woman. She doesn't have that testosterone. This is pretty much sounding like, okay, but here's the thing. Here's the crazy thing about it. It's kind of like, okay, well, since you don't want to, do this or whatever, I'm not going to protect you. And now let's see how tough you are, sister. Okay, that doesn't make any sense, because here's the problem with that ideology. Not only are you making it harder for the Black women, you're making it harder for the Black community as a whole. And there's other races that are looking at that. And then you wonder how this actually perpetuates all the police brutality and things like that. It trickles down. It's a trickle effect. They're going to look at it like this. If they don't care about their own women, if they're violent and angry toward their own women, it's going to perpetuate a trickle down effect. And that's why you see so much brutality, police brutality. That's why you see so much stuff happening, because they're going to be looking from the outside in. Other races are looking like, don't bring that foolishness over here. Other races are looking like, well, if they don't protect and value their own women, then who are they going to value and protect? I keep saying this, no one is going to respect a race of men that don't respect their own women. It just is what it is. And yes, I can hear somebody saying, well, nobody's going to respect women that don't respect themselves. That is true. But it's kind of like you tell us, on one hand, go out there and work and make your own money. Then when the women do it, it's still a problem. And that's the confusion that Black women have. That's why I wish women like her, that seem to have a platform, but they're not talking in a way that will benefit Black women. I don't get it. I just don't understand. But I'm going to let the rest of this play.
Sam, okay, well, you're just as equal as me. Go ahead and do everything yourself. And the women are complaining about it. But why are you complaining about the same decisions that you voted for? That is the situation. Again, it goes back to women not understanding what makes men tick. And it doesn't matter. It only matters what makes women tick, right?
I agree what makes men
when you want something from men and you want to have a benefit from men, you don't even understand what you're dealing with. You don't understand even how to talk to them, how to even position things. And men need to be talked to and respected in the right way for them to be able to carry out the functions that you would like them to have. Men need to be motivated, especially black men. Black men have to be motivated in the black community to do things.
So here's my thing with that. They say black men need to be motivated. Why? What happened to the self-motivation to be better? And he's going to get into this individualistic, every man for himself ideology. But my whole thing, this comes back to what I was saying before. Black men should not be competing with black women. Black women should not be competing with black men. Okay? There's other races of men that you can be competing with black men. And maybe that should be something that you look into. Okay? And why do you have to be motivated to do something for your community? Why should you have to be motivated to think outside of yourself? You know, why can't you be motivated to do more than just make a certain amount of money, come home, and then that's it? It's like you don't want more?
Be motivated in the black community to do things. If it's building businesses, now obviously you're going to say, well, why are they not motivated to do it for themselves? And I can get that. But as far as black men wanting to do things for themselves, the difference is a lot of black men don't need much. You can be a man and get a one-bedroom apartment and maybe achieve like $80,000, $90,000 a year, and you don't necessarily care about being rich. Whereas if you had a house, a family, you would care a lot more about.
So did he say $80,000, $90,000 a year? Black men are making like $35,000 or less. $80,000 or $90,000 a year would be a huge achievement. I don't know if he said $8,000 or $9,000 a year. I'm going to imagine he said $80,000 or $90,000 a year. Nobody can motivate you to do better. You just have to have that in you. I think the problem is, and he's going to say, I listened to this already. So what he's going to say is black men need to be motivated. Why can't they do it by themselves? Okay, well, black men are happy with just a certain amount. Most men, as long as they're able to do for themselves, they're good. Okay, what happened to the ambition of being more? What happened to the ambition of leaving a legacy, doing something for your community?
Now, obviously, you're going to say, well, why are they not motivated to do it for themselves? And I can get that. But as far as black men wanting to do things for themselves, the difference is a lot of black men don't need much. You can be a man and get a one-bedroom apartment and maybe achieve like $80,000, $90,000 a year, and you don't necessarily care about being rich.
Said 8 or 9. I keep thinking
whereas
said 8 or 9.
if you had a house, a family, you would care a lot more about that. You would put more effort into that. So you're seeing men not optimizing their potentials because they don't need to anymore. Where's the family to do so? And there's no reason to do it because you're going to feel like, well, most women don't respect me. So why am I wasting my particular time here? But guys, what do you think? It's your boy Oshay D. Jackson. Make sure you check out Chez. First comment pinned to the top. We're out.
So he's saying that most men need to be motivated, black men. If they don't have a family, then they're happy with just making, I thought he said 80 or 90,000 a year, but I think he said 8 or 9,000 a year. They get a one-bedroom apartment, and that's just sad. Where's your ambition? Where's your hustle? Where's your sense of I'm a king, I can be anything, I can do anything, I can have anything I want? Why would you settle for that? And then he said, oh, okay, well, if a man has a family, of course, he's motivated to do more, of course. But that motivation isn't just about his family. That motivation is something in him. He had to have motivation to start a family. He had to have motivation, some kind of plan to take care of that family. Unless he's one of these dudes that, just knocks somebody up or whatever and is living with her and has nothing to offer except good D or whatever, something like that. But most men want to be better. How can you expect to be respected as a man, but you're not even acting as a man? You don't have that drive. You don't have that go get it. And then you get mad when women are out hustling you. Whose fault is that? And women are not competing with you. It's just that women know, hey, there's certain things we have to do. There's certain ways that I want to live. That shouldn't make you feel like less than a man. If anything, that should make you be like, if she's doing it and this is a female, then I know I could do better. I know I can have better. So yeah, that's, if you wanted my opinion on that video, like I said, there's things that I agree with, and then there's things that I don't. Like, comment, subscribe, tell me what you think about this. Have a good one.